What's up, folks? David Soto Jr. here, and this is the David Soto Jr. podcast.
Son, it's okay. I want to tilt your head a little bit. Let me help you. Oh, come on. Oh my gosh. Come on. I'm trying to make a recording here. Sorry, folks. So, I'm not sure if this is going to be a podcast or not, but I want to... My God. Son, come on. It's almost... We'll take you to mommy soon. I promise. It'll be okay. I didn't make this recording, son. Oh my gosh. Come on. Uh-oh. That's mommy. I guess I'm gonna pause this because mommy says bring him. Alright, folks, so hold on. I'll be back. Okay. I'm back without my son, who's being nursed at the moment. I gotta stop doing this. I purposely thought I should not bring my coffee in here, and I did it anyways. So the reason I wanted to record this broadcast with my son is because I wanted to talk about my upcoming release, which is going to be, it'll be a day or two, or it's going to be soon. It may be live when you first see this, but it's the Namesake David Alonzo. The Namesake David Alonzo. It's a short story. There's not much to it. It's about an 8-minute read, and there's probably as much front matter and back matter as there is actual story. I talk about the story in the preface, and then there's an epilogue, and then there's an afterword, and then but what I didn't cover, or briefly covered, I didn't go in enough detail, I don't think, of why or how the story came about. So David Alonzo, he's not even in this story. His father is David Luís, but David Alonzo is this character which I came up with, who is this reclusive hermit of a man who lives in this his home in Guanajuato, Mexico, in Ciudad Guanajuato, and everybody knows that he lives there and knows who he is, or that there's an old man that lives in this house, and he lives above Plaza del Baratillo, which is a little plaza in Guanajuato. It's beautiful. They have a fountain. It's just I spent many a time there, and it's gorgeous, and tacos. There's people who sell tacos there, and sweet bread, and it's just a little plaza, and it's beautiful. In his apartment, well, I don't even know the apartment. I'm pretty sure there is, but his apartment or his house overlooks the Plaza del Baratillo, and from there he sees a teenage girl, who he's kind of he's not necessarily a dirty old man, because he's given up women for 30 years. Now, he's not homosexual, but he's cursed. He's cursed with too much love. And when he realizes that he cannot, in good conscience, interact with women anymore because of his curse, he finds a home in Guanajuato and locks himself in it. He has servants and he continues. He was a guitarist, a concert guitarist, so he made a lot of money, and he had money, enough money to buy his home in Guanajuato. But to sustain himself, he took on students as guitar students, and he taught guitar. So he had male servants. He only taught guitar to boys, and for 30 years he just stayed in his house and never went outside because he had to distance himself from women for purposes you'll find out when you read the story. But not this story, not the namesake of David Alonzo, because that is about David Luís. It's about his parents, David Luís and Alma Cortez. But anyways, David Alonzo is inspired and is attracted to a very young girl, and he does nothing more but play music for her, kind of anonymously play music for her. That girl's name is Gabby. Now, if you read Los Chocolates de Esperanza Diamante, you know what happens to Gabby in Los Chocolates. Anyways, so that's David Alonzo. I don't know how I'm going to end this story or what's going to happen. I just started writing one day. And then I realized, like, I need to explain why David Soto, that's me, why David Alonzo is cursed. And it has to do with, and this is why I brought my son in here to try and make this recording, it has to do with his name. His name is David. And David Luís, his father, learns one day what David means. And it means beloved or dearly loved. So when David Luís has a child, what happens is David Luís realizes that he has been blessed with love his entire life. From his siblings, his parents, his aunts, his uncles, teachers, everyone has loved David Luís and cherished him, and he was the favorite. And then when David Luís started going after girls or started being interested in girls as a teenager, he easily would find himself in bed with women, and as he continued into adulthood, he never had problems in that area, and he felt blessed. He felt blessed because of this, and when he realized that his name meant dearly loved or beloved, he thought that was the connection, that was why he was so blessed as a lover and even and as a child and just surrounded and always in contact with love. And so he realizes that that's his blessing and that was his gift, and he wants to pass that on to his son. So he names his son David. And that is the gist of the namesake, David Alonzo. That's how it takes place. Of course, David Luís has to meet David Alonzo's mother. There's a short courtship. They get involved, and then David Alonzo is born. It's a very short story, but it's pretty good, and it has people wanting to know, okay, now what happens to David Alonzo? And that's kind of cool. That's kind of the cool part, is I am teasing, leaving it a bit of a cliffhanger. And I haven't written a story yet, so I don't know when the rest of it's going to come. But again, the reason I brought my son in here is because my name is David. And I knew one day it came to me that I realized that my name meant beloved. And I didn't know that. And my name meant beloved. And I looked at my father, and maybe I wonder, did my father feel that he's been blessed with love his whole life, and that it's because his name is David. Because I'm a junior. And was my father blessed with love as a child? I kind of, David Luís is kind of my dad, but I don't know any of this for sure. But I feel like my dad is like one of the favorites of his siblings with his aunts. He is dearly loved, and he was loved by my mother, and now in his wife of 30 years, my stepmother. And I just think that this is how I think. I think in a magical realism sense. And I think that my dad, although he never gave any clue or sense or anything, but it's just a little fantasy. It's just a little magic. And I decided to write a story based on this thought that my dad, was lucky in love as a adolescent, lucky in love when it came to women as a young adult, and felt blessed with that, and blamed it or attributed that with the fact that his name is David. And so he felt obligated or wanted to give his son the same blessing. And so I feel like my dad named me David because he wanted me to have the same blessing. And so that is the idea I had. And then I thought, well, I cannot not pass that on to my son. And I've had this idea before I even knew I was going to have a son. I didn't know if I was ever going to have a child. In fact, I thought I would have a girl. After a while, I was dating someone who had a little girl, and then we lived together, and I was a part-time parent for a little bit, and I loved it, and I loved having a little girl. And I thought, I want a girl. I don't want to have a son anymore. I want to have a girl. But even so, way back when, I had anticipated having a son. I knew that I would name him David, and then I even gave up on wanting to have a son. Like, I'll have a daughter. Name her Davina. I'm just kidding. So, I named my son, as you saw in the beginning of this video, my beautiful boy. His name is also David. His mother picked his middle name. I did not want to necessarily make him a third, so his mother picked his middle name, and it's Jackson. But it doesn't matter. It's David is the name I wanted him to have, and he has it. And now he will be blessed for the rest of his life with love. David Alonzo, however, didn't get that benefit. And so that's the curse of David Alonzo, which is the story that this short story, the namesake David Alonzo, is just one chapter of it. So, but I felt this desire to publish it. I was looking through Amazon and looking through the bestsellers list, and I saw a category specifically for short reads, of 5 to 15 minute reads, and I saw a bunch of these books, especially the Longmire series. If you ever watch Longmire on Netflix, it's pretty cool. Lou Diamond Phillips is in it, and it was a fun series to watch. And it's based on a book, and some of these stories are so short that they're 5 to 10 to 15 minute reads, and they're selling for like $9.99 or $7.99 for these Kindle versions. And I'm like, well, if this can be successful and make the bestsellers list, like the bestsellers was dotted, the first page of the bestsellers list was dotted with this, I didn't remember his name, this author's Longmire series. That means people are reading these books. That means they're buying them, and they're all on the bestsellers list. So I saw that can be, A, you can publish something that's short, and B, it could do well and sell for $7.99. Of course, I'm not as established, so I'm not going to price my my short story at $7.99. It's going to be 99 cents, and it's always going to be 99 cents. I don't plan on trying to make a lot of money off 2,000 word short story. I do hope to get exposure, and that's my goal of publishing this. I probably at 99 cents, I doubt that I'll ever get the money back that I put in having the book cover. But the book cover, I had to go with the same designer and the same kind of tonal theme. If you look at the book cover, it looks like it belongs to all the other ones. Like they all go together, and they kind of do. And although this story, there's no connection, but the story of David Alonzo, the curse of David Alonzo, he runs into a woman and has a liaison with a woman in Costa Rica who happens to be a prostitute. That woman ends up getting beaten by her pimp as a result. And there's somebody named Pierre Bernal de los Campos who is in San Jose and knows this prostitute and sees that she is beaten. And he confronts the pimp. That story is written, it's done, and it's super good. But I'm connecting all these characters and all these stories together, and I'm having a good time. Like, this is the fun part. Like, there's all these links, and I'm like, yeah, I'm publishing novellas and novelettes and short stories, but they're all connected somehow, and I think that's kind of cool. Anyways, folks, that's it. I appreciate you tuning in. I will do me a favor. If you're interested in reading the story, go to Amazon. It's 99 cents. Download it, read it, and leave me a review. You can leave me a review on Goodreads, or you can leave me a review on Amazon. I appreciate it. I like to get this like on a bestsellers list and stand out, and then draw attention to my other stories. My Los Chocolates is my favorite one. It is probably the most beautiful thing I've ever written. Moncada was a lot of work, and it's a super fun story, and it's my first attempt at historical fiction. But I need to get attention drawn to this, and so that's why I'm publishing this. And I'm going to need reviews, and I'm going to need purchases, and I need to get up on the bestsellers list. So if you see this and you're interested, feel free to go to Amazon and buy The Namesake, David Alonzo. And that's it. Give me a shout out on Twitter at David E. Soto Jr., on Instagram at David E. Soto Jr., and if you got any other questions or comments or anything, just track me down on the interwebs, David Soto Jr. All right, peace.